Obooters from around the world. My name is Ali and I am 12 years old and I live in Montreal, Canada. Welcome to our Oboot Zoom session where me and my co-host Aanya, who is 14 and lives in Cambridge, Massachusetts, will be interviewing our guest changemaker Aki Higuchi, who is currently based in the United States in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Aki is a social entrepreneur, founded and CEO of Selan Inc, a Tokyo-based company providing bilingual babysitting, OmSister, and educational services, dot.school, for children of busy parents. Aki's work links to several sustainable development goals, especially to Goal 4, quality education. Aanya and I will ask questions to Aki about her background, her journey, her work, her skills, and her impact. We hope that you will enjoy this session. I will now start with our first question to our guest. Can you please tell us a little bit about you and what you do for work?
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Aki Higuchi, and I am an education entrepreneur from Japan. We provide a service called OmSister, which is abbreviation for omukae, which means pick up in Japanese, and sister means sibling sister. So your sister or brother tutor pick up your child at kindergarten or elementary school, and we go home together and we do lessons, mainly English lessons, or we have liberal arts classes as well. We do the lesson until the busy parents get back home. I started this service based on my own experience as a child. So when I was 6, my mother was very busy. She was a film producer. And one day she decided to post a note at a university nearby our house saying that we're looking for someone who could tutor and babysit our little daughter. And then at that time, so the babysitting culture has just recently started to develop in Japan. So at that time, asking for a random university student was just unheard of. And I still remember my very first tutor called Feliz. She was from Turkey and very energetic girl. She came to pick me up at my kindergarten, and we went back home together. And then at that time, I was a very shy and cautious girl. And but she ended up connecting with me, taught me many things that my elementary school didn't teach me, including English, philosophy, culture, and more. And since then, I met more than 30 international students as my tutor, and all of them inspired me, giving me skills, confidence, and global mindset. So, and fast forward 25 years, here I am. They give me, because of them, I was empowered, and I got confidence to tackle social issues, to empower women and children through education. So that's how I started my company. And we're now, our mission is to empower women and children through education. And we have a lot of pressing issues in Japan, and 2 of them are the lack of childcare for women and the lack of global education opportunity for children. So we're trying to tackle these issues through our work.
Thank you.
As you said, there were you had babysitters from all around the world, 30 different countries. How are the babysitters from different countries different, or how did they inspire you in different ways?
Thank you for asking. Because in Japan, 99% of Japanese the population are a Japanese ethnicity. So it was very hard to get exposed to international environment and those foreigners. So we tend to think very similarly, but because I met many international students from young, and I think I was inspired to be to see a different dimension of things. For example, every day at the dinner table, we talked about territorial dispute between Japan and China, the diplomacy and history of the relationship between Turkey and Japan, the diplomacy and stuff like this. So I feel like I was studying abroad from home. So I think it inspired me and influenced me a lot on my career path and academic path.
Where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Tokyo, Japan. I was born there, but I lived in Wuhan, which is the origin of pandemic. Now you might have heard, in China. And also I stayed in Boston when I was in 4th and 5th grade. And then I went to undergrad in Beijing in China. And then after that, I went back to Japan, worked for a while, and then now I'm here in Boston. But I spend most of my time in Japan.
Your parents are from different countries. How has it impacted you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. That's a great question. In Japan, there are not so many mixed kids. So when I was little, I struggled with my identity. And I grew up in Japan, and all my friends were Japanese. So I tried to be the same with other classmates, but I felt like I was missing something. And because I think I rejected half of my identity as Chinese growing up. So, and when I turned 18, I thought that I think it's a good timing for me to learn half of my identity. So I went to China to learn about Chinese culture. And I'm glad that I chose this path, because now I feel more complete. And I speak Mandarin. I understand Chinese culture. It was hard when I was a kid growing up in Japan, but now I feel more comfortable and I feel complete.
How has COVID affected your work?
Thank you for asking. That's also a great question. So originally, we were only providing on-site private tutoring. But as you know, we all stopped on in-person operation all around the world. And we also had to think about alternatives. And though it was very hard, and unfortunately many startups, small company especially, couldn't survive, but we made a quick decision and tried to transform into online operation, though it was really hard. So we originally provided the in-person lesson, picking up children at school, kindergarten, bring them back home, and we do lessons. But we had to change everything online. But my concern was that how we could help parents, how we could parents through online, because our mission is to empower both women and children. And then if we shift everything online, we could still do the online lesson with children, but I wondered how we could keep both values education and childcare through online. So we interviewed a lot of parents and realized that they were actually struggling to work from home while having kids aside. And so we decided to provide a longer hour online lesson so that we can keep children stayed online, and while parents can have meetings during while kids are having lesson with us. So like this, many parents started to use our service, and now actually we grow more than pre-COVID. We got stronger operation. Our team got united, overcoming this pandemic. So pandemic was really hard, but I reconfirmed my mission to empower women and children. So yeah, it was a very tough experience, but yeah, we overcame, and we're glad that we're still able to make an impact.
What challenges does one face setting up a business in Japan?
The challenge in Japan, running business, right?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Of course, there are many challenges, but I personally think that being a woman, female entrepreneur is a challenge because, first of all, the female entrepreneurial rate in Japan is as low as 8%, which is extremely low compared to other Asian nations such as China, Singapore, and Hong Kong, where it almost has 40%. So there are a lot of stereotype bias toward female culturally and traditionally. So for example, when you do fundraising, it wasn't easy at all because most of the investment goes to male entrepreneurs. Also, I feel like I also thought about why there are few female entrepreneurs in Japan, because there are social, like the public bias toward entrepreneur as well. Like they think that entrepreneurs should be like very masculine and, the strong kind of image. But actually, after running my own service and being an entrepreneur for 6 years, I realized that an entrepreneur, this job is pretty suitable for women by controlling your own time, having your own schedule. So I think it's a very good job for all women and working mothers. So I really want to spread this new concept of being a female entrepreneur in Japan.
Why did you want to make these companies?
Yeah, so the reason why I started this company is because it's based on my own experience as a child, I mentioned earlier. And me and I have a 6 years old younger sister. And then me and my sister were inspired by all those international students. And I thought this is a very good solution to tackle Japan's pressing issues, to help women, to empower women, and to tackle the lack of childcare, and also providing the global education opportunity for children. So, and after I started working in a company after graduating from college, and I realized there are so many women are struggling from these issues. And I realized that my mother's issue was not only her issue, it was actually a nationwide issue. So I wanted to reproduce my experience to help those working mother and children.
As you previously had said, you were a CEO of a company that provides bilingual babysitting and education services for children with busy parents. What is the advantage of being bilingual? In what way does it help children? And for choosing a bilingual language, are there any preferred languages?
Yes, our service covers not only English, although most of them choose English. I would say 95% choose English, but the rest of 5%, some people learn Chinese, Mandarin Chinese, or German and Spanish, French. What else? Yeah, we cover all these language. And sorry, what was the other question?
What is the advantage of being bilingual, and what way does it help the children?
Right. So I feel like being bilingual means that you embrace multiple cultures. And I think it's very important because our values is diversified more and more than before. So it's very important to have a multi-dimensional opinion, and you can get to discuss with many people around the world. So I think it's very important.
Do you have a main space to do your work, like an office building, or do you work remote from home?
Now we basically working from home, but we also have an office, and we go there once or twice a week to have a weekly team meeting. But for me, I'm now in Boston, so I'm joining online.
Are you fond of children?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, I love children. I think, first of all, it's because I have a sister who is much younger than me, and my parents were so busy growing up. So I actually took care of her since I was younger. So I really like taking care of children. And also I realized that children has a lot to teach adults. So I'm actually, every time I interact with children, I learn a lot from them.
Are you working on these companies alone with the partner, or selective, or like, is it open to everyone?
So you mean that am I selecting the clients or the people who I work with?
Like for how you select other people, is it by like some sort of like, I want to join your idea?
Okay.
Or is it like you find people online that
Okay.
like I'm looking for jobs?
Okay, our team member, right? Yes, so we do select, but we have both channels through reference from our current team member, or we sometimes post the job description online, and so people apply to us, and we do interview, and we work with newcomers. We have both, but now. Let's see. I would say like half or 70% are by reference, by recommendation from our current team member, and maybe 30% are from online, from public.
You're a CEO of a company. Why did you choose Kennedy School of Government instead of the business school?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's like a proper school interview. So now our service is, our client is mostly privileged children and family. Our tuition is, our monthly fee is around $300, which means only 5% of Japanese households can afford it. So, but after running my service for many years, I realized that quality education should be accessible to every family and children, regardless of their economic status. So I I thought that I really want to gain a leadership skill, not only the business or education, but also the public mindset as well. So I decided to apply to Kennedy School to learn more about public leadership and how to scale social impact and to bridge between public and private sector. And actually, I'm going to MBA after this. So I'm starting my MBA course from this September. So I hope I can connect the dots between Kennedy School and my MBA study.
What do you do in your spare time when you're not working?
I love playing tennis and piano. I started playing tennis when I was 12 in my middle school. And then I played until high school. Maybe until when I was in college. I stopped for a while because my work was a bit intense. But I restarted before coming to Boston, and I enjoy playing it. I belong to a tennis club in Harvard. And also I started playing piano when I was 5, but I stopped when I was around 12 because I wanted to go to private middle school. I had to take an exam, and that's where many kids stop playing piano and stop playing tennis or stuff. But I'm glad that I was able to restart after 15 years. And then now I enjoy playing, not every day, but maybe twice or 3 times a week. We have a piano in our building, so I go there and play sometimes.
What is your favorite food in Japan? I know mine is sushi.
I know your favorite is sushi. I love sushi for sure. I love salmon, but in Japan we have a baked salmon, which is really good. And also I love soba. I'm not sure if you guys know. It's a Japanese noodle with healthier flour. It's very popular in Japan. We eat that during lunch or dinner, or maybe during snack time. I love soba. And also I love natto. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a sticky beans, and it smells has a particular smells. So not many people like it, especially foreigners. When they first eat this, they will be shocked. But it's very healthy, and like in Japan, everybody eats this almost every day. And I really like this. Please Google it later if you don't know. It's really good, and you can also buy it online here. So maybe you can try eating natto.
What was it called again?
It's called natto, Natto.
Natto. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you famous in Japan?
Well, I would say yes and no. If I've been in many media, like significant media, but I don't think like many people know about me. But like sometimes like people who follow our work, they recognize us, and sometimes they talk to us saying that they love our service, and their children is having fun with us. So I think that's my most favorite part, and I'm so grateful for that, because I get to see many children and mothers' life-changing moments. So yes, I would say yes and no.
What is your favorite place in Japan and China?
My favorite place in Japan is Tokyo, for sure, where I grew up. And especially I like a place called Omotesando, which is which has a lot of cafe and small cake shops, like chocolate shops. And it's very cozy, and there's a lot of small shops around. So I like to visit all these small shops and do a little shopping sometimes. And in China, I like my neighborhood. I used to live in a place near Peking University where I attended. There are a lot of schools, like good schools, and middle school, high schools, and also there are a lot of restaurants, which is not super expensive, which is a reasonable price. And then, I love Chinese food and Japanese food as well. But the good part of having Chinese food is very cheap and very fast. It's very fast to cook Chinese food. So when you are super hungry, you can just go somewhere around in neighborhood and you can have a good food.
Are you planning to continue in any more companies? Are you planning to make more or continue, expand?
Yes, I'm planning to expand this company. I don't have any plan to make another one because I realize that I'm really passionate about education. So if I want to do something else, I might do with my current team, and I'm very fortunate to have a very passionate team who could tackle the social issue together. So
in my life, I used to speak 3 languages since I was 6.5, but when I moved abroad, I forgot almost all of those languages. So how long should one need to learn or speak a language to retain it?
That's a very good question. It's very easy for all of us to forget language. And for me as well, I was in China for 5 years, but I start to forget actually, especially those academic vocabularies that you don't use in daily life. And I think it's very important to speak or use every day, even if it's 5 minutes. So I try to get exposed to those contents that is spoken in different language. For example, using podcast, YouTube, or read for even if 1 page. So I think it's very important to use every day.
Do you have any relatives, cousins that live near you? In Japan, China? Or are they helping you with your business?
I have relatives, cousins in many places. The closest one is in New York. They're working there. Actually, they grew up there and then working there. So I often visit them. I think I've visited them almost once in 2 months. And they're also coming for my graduation ceremony. So I'm very excited. And I also have cousins in Japan, of course, and Brazil, Singapore, Malaysia, many other places as well. So because back then there was a cultural revolution in China, and it was very hard for a family who got exposed to foreign culture or who got exposed to those foreigners. And my grandmother and grandfather, they actually used to live in Japan, even though they are Chinese. They were studying in Japan, and then after they went back to China. They had cultural revolution, and it was very difficult for them to stay there. And then so their daughter and son, which is including my mom and my aunt, my uncle, they all moved to other countries to have a safer life and a better life. So that's why I have relatives in many countries.
Before we end our interview, I have one last question for you, Aki. Do you have any advice for a young person who wants to become a change maker?
I want to say that your passion is something that it's not something you find, it's something that you bump into while you struggling doing something. So it's not like it's coming from somewhere. It's something that you have to be in the environment, and you struggle, you overcome, and then you suddenly bump into, which is also my case as well. So I really hope that young change makers, they just jump into the environment, following your curiosity, following your heart, and then you would definitely bump into something. So that would be my advice.
Thank you, Aki and Aanya, for the great discussion and for all the things we learned today. Thank you, Obooters, for listening to this interview. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can hear about upcoming sessions with other changemakers. Please also tell your friends about Oboot and share our social media links with them. And last but not least, go to Oboot.co to learn about opportunities to collect digital badges and help us plant trees. Thank you.